Recording in the morning for the first time. This is so exciting. I'm like
It's
so
exciting
thrilled.
for you. It's terrifying for me.
I come alive in
I
the daytime.
I come live at night.
I
So
cannot function at night.
I know I wanted not to brag. I wanted to do this for you. Like I wanted you to have this. I wanted to give you this.
Yeah,
So
received.
you know what?
Received.
You're welcome.
Received.
You're welcome.
Part of my
Yeah.
favorite thing to do is to convert people to becoming morning people. And
I can see that for you.
it's
I can
such it is like when you get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, the amount of tasks that you can get done before noon is truly wild.
The thing is, I think we all know, like all us late night owl people, like I know my life would be astronomically better if I can get up early.
Right.
I cannot. I can't do it.
Right. I mean, you
Ugh.
could.
I know I could. I'm just not.
Yeah.
But every time we talk about it, you inspire me.
This morning
That's
I did a
real.
45-minute Peloton ride, not sponsored.
Jesus Christ.
And it was an EDM ride, which and when the ride okay, number
Hate
one,
that.
I'm not an
Hate EDM.
I'm not an EDM person, okay? That is not how I identify. However, why
Are you sure?
I like the EDM rides because when you do the popular music rides, you know the beginning, middle, and end of the song. And all you're doing is being like, oh, I'm at the first verse, I'm at the second verse. Like you're
Yeah,
time
yeah.
stamping it. With the EDM, which by the way, the instructor began the class by going, EDM, electric dance music. I was like, okay, noted. But I like those
appreciate
rides
the definition.
because you don't know where you are. You don't know what the beginning, middle, or end of the song is. So I find that they go by a lot faster. And I had a really great experience.
I actually know what you mean. There are times when I'll do like a blind playlist for a workout
Yeah.
of just like high octane dance music that I don't know. And
Right.
you're right. It's like you have no idea where you are. You don't know the lyrics, which is helpful.
No, I couldn't
You're
tell
just,
if
like,
anyone was
in
even
it.
singing in these songs. I thought I heard
Oh, yeah,
I heard
probably
lyrics,
not.
but I wasn't sure.
It's just like a lot of
Yeah, and like
and like the beats per minute is great.
kind of like wailing in the background. Now, when I signed
Study
on
music.
for the class, so the way that it works is that there are like live classes where everybody goes on, and then there are a catalog of old classes that you can do whenever you want. And you can see
Wow.
other
While
riders.
the other half lives.
Yeah, and you can see other riders who are taking that class with you. And I
Oh
hate
my god! Wait, how? Like their cameras are on?
No, there is a leaderboard
Oh.
where you can see other people who have chosen to take this on-demand class at roughly the same time as you, and you can see their score. And I hate bragging.
shit, I love
I
competition.
hate bragging, but there was a man in his mid-40s from Miami, Florida, who also chose to do an EDM ride from 2 years ago this morning, and I beat him. And then at the end of the ride, as a good sport, I gave him a high five, which is something you can do on the interface pretty easily. You just kind of tap their name and it gives them a virtual high five. Now, good sports always high five back.
Of course.
What do you think
have
this
to.
man did?
Big fuck you to the face.
He did not high
Just
five
a
me back.
Middle
I
finger.
was like, I'm going to report you.
Asshole.
And you came in second out of 2.
You came in second. Did you do high school sports? You did, right?
I did cross country for 2 reasons. Number 1, I was not going to entertain any sport that required a helmet. Number 2 was that the way that scoring works in cross country is that only the top 2 finishers for a school score points. The rest of the runners score no points.
0.
So for someone like me who was never in the top 2, my performance had
Didn't matter.
no effect on the team. And
I do like
you,
that.
you weren't wearing a helmet.
Take away the pressure.
What did you play?
I know. I would always do sports with like a face guard or like a mouth guard. It was horrible.
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
I did like the lame sport in my school. It was field hockey. It was
I knew it.
It was like the team. I know. Sorry, but like I
That
was just
cannot be
fighting.
good for your back. The way that you're
It's
running hunched over,
Horrible.
chasing
your
that little ball
posture.
around the field.
Oh, it's fucked up. My parents actually have so much to say about my field hockey games because a penalty would be called if the ball hit your foot, hit your shin guard, lifted too high, your stick lifted too high. So like
Really?
the whistle would be blown every 5 seconds. It would be, you would make it like 4 paces and then it would hit someone's shin guard and then you'd have to stop and reset.
Yeah.
My parents hated
Constant breaks.
But like it was the one team you could just walk onto in my school. You didn't have to like have been doing it since you were 5.
Right.
And I wanted to be in shape for the musical, the school musical season.
But do you?
So I always did it. It's a bad sport.
I can't.
No offense,
I have
field
never
hockey.
seen a field hockey game.
You don't want to see it. Trust
But
me, you don't.
Just the equipment alone looked like it was from like a toy store. These goofy little sticks.
The sticks are so goofy. Can
Something
we get a
that like
bigger surface area?
Rumpelstiltskin would have.
Including the kilts,
Yeah,
literally.
the whole outfit.
Including the
It
kilts.
was like it's fresh out of a nursery rhyme.
Maybe that's why I was attracted to it. I liked the skirts. I thought they were really cute.
We're unlocking something.
We are unlocking something. Like it was, I went to school. I mean, we went to school at the same time when girls loved rolling their shorts. You would roll your shorts like 4 times. So that they were
like the Sophie shorts or whatever.
Yeah, the Sophies. So like we would roll our kilts till your like ass was like almost gonna come out.
That's really charming.
Slutty.
Yeah.
I was bringing up school sports because like do you at the end when you have to do that good sportsmanship like high five line, did you guys have to do that where you're like good game, good game, good game?
So like what would happen with cross country is that when you would finish the race, there would be like a chute that you would go through where they would like record your number, and like invariably, like by the time I finished, everyone else had already finished, so they were like lining the chute. But like that grows old after a while, because after
It's
like
so old.
30 minutes you're like, I don't want to stand here like waiting for someone who probably took a walk break. So like when I came through, it was more of a celebration that we could go home versus a celebration of your performance.
Good job.
Finally.
Oh my God. That gives me like sweat, upper lip sweat. Like in middle school, I did track and just for fun. And we had it where I think the top 3 would get points or something.
Yeah,
and
track
if you
is
had
a little bit different.
Yeah. I was in track, and if you had no one competing at a certain event, you would just want to plug someone into the event so we can just sweep some points for fun.
Yeah.
So we had no one doing the 2 mile one time in track.
The worst.
And they were like, the fucking worst. And they were like, Chanel, can you just do it? Like, we'll get the points if you just finish. And I was like, oh my God, no problem. The refs were in shock at like minute 15 when I'm at like 3/4 of a mile. They were like,
that is the most,
she's
that's
like
8 laps around the track. That's insane. That is truly an insane race.
I mean, I finished it in like a casual 25 because like who cares? And the refs were in shock.
Yeah.
They were like,
they were ready to send like the
coaches,
pacer vehicle around to scoop you up.
My coach, they were like, she's only on lap like 4, right? And my coaches were like, yeah. And they were they were truly confused and baffled.
Yeah.
Because they were used to like a skinny girl doing it in like 15. But I
got
us the points.
They did that for me with the long jump one time. They were like, oh, the other long jumper isn't here. Can you just go do it? Because you need 3 people. They're like, you'll get points. It doesn't matter how far you jump, you'll get points. And I'm like, okay, like I've seen this. I've seen it. You just run and then you jump. How hard could this be?
Yeah.
So
the launch point.
I walk over to it,
essential.
and the woman goes, okay, find your spot. And I'm like, find my spot? I'm like,
take your mark.
I'm like, all right. So I run, and before I can even jump, she's like, disqualified. And I'm like,
oh my!
I'm like, what? She goes, you have 2 more chances. Meanwhile, I hadn't even jumped. I was just running down the thing.
2 more chances.
And she was like, you have 2 more chances.
Yeah,
so I do it 2 more times and get disqualified 2 more times. And I'm like, what? She's like, you only get 13 steps. I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay, that would have been helpful information at the onset of this event.
That's your coach's fault.
Absolutely.
There are like a certain number of steps. There you have to start at a certain mark. You have to be launched off by a certain mark.
Yeah.
There's like a whole technique about it, and I blame your coaches. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Well, coaching for cross country also is truly like I always remember the race advice they would give us, which was insane. They would be like, okay, here's your race strategy. We want you to take off quick from the start and then increase your speed as you go up the hill. And then when you go on the downhill, you ride the downhill and you'll go even faster. And I'm like, so just to be clear, the strategy is to run as fast as you can the entire time. Is that the race? Is that the race strategy? Because that's what I'm hearing.
Up. I know, it's like these high school coaches are in it for the extra cash.
Yeah, just
the extra 500, just like J-Lo
in Monster-in-Law.
Monster-in-Law. She's just trying to pick up a little extra money on the Little League field.
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy.
Perfect.
I'm really happy you brought that up because I was thinking to myself today, I was like, we haven't made this clear yet, but this is a progressive curriculum that we are giving here in this podcast. Mm-hmm. So this episode really follows the work that we did in Monster-in-Law. Because I was thinking to myself, a casual listener, could have listened to that episode and walked away thinking, oh, these people, they don't think Jennifer Lopez is a good actress. That could have been a takeaway from that episode. Could have been.
It 100% probably was your takeaway. Probably was your owning it. We're owning that. Okay. That.
But we're here to build on that by taking a look at another Jennifer Lopez vehicle, a true star vehicle for Jennifer Lopez.
A true star vehicle for Jennifer Lopez. Not in chronological order.
Oh God,
but
no. We're going back in time.
We're going back in time. It's super interesting to me that this is the performance she gave in 2002 when we did Monster-in-Law. I think it was like 2005.
Yeah, it's a few years later.
Because this is for all intents and purposes our second installment of J-Lo.
Right.
J-Lo as movie star. And
I don't even want to say part 2 of 3 because odds are there will be more than 3 parts.
Who knows? She really did rule the roost in the early 2000s. I feel like J-Lo is very much in the zeitgeist right now with her like Ben Affleck shenanigans.
Comings and goings.
So comings and goings. I'm so happy to throw it back to 2002's Maid and Manhattan.
Right.
Oh my God, I said Maid and Manhattan. Like my mom. Yeah, we went to see Maid and Manhattan. Yeah. It was real good.
It was so good to see Jennifer Lopez.
It was so good to see J-Lo. She looks so good, even in a maid uniform.
Those were nice maid uniforms.
Which were tailor-made to her.
I didn't love the color, but I did love the fit and flare nature of the dress.
So good on her. Yeah, I mean, we're doing today we're doing 2002's Maid in Manhattan, not Maid and Manhattan. Although
I like to see that movie too.
I would love to see that movie. I'll write it. I love this movie. It is so good.
You texted me before I watched it a few times.
I said it so many times.
You kept front loading me that information.
I was really gung ho to do this one. I kept adding it to lists that we were making for this pod. I kept talking about it.
Yeah, there was some concern that we had that we were dipping back to Jennifer Lopez too quickly.
We have our favorites on the pod, okay?
Yeah.
Sue us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love this movie. It's so good. I know, sue me. I want to read us a little production summary so that really frees us up to just dive in. What do you think?
Please,
take the floor. Okay. This is penned by Steven, which I think is lovely.
Well, it's derived from other sources.
Oh, you could have plagiarized, which is probably what you did. But
it was. You know what I did? I did the plagiarism that you do in college, right? You find other work, and then you just swap out words here and there to the degree that it's no longer the initial work, but it is. You didn't.
Yeah, it's a little derivative.
Yeah.
I hate to throw it back to school real quick, but fear of plagiarizing wakes me up in my sleep. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to find out. And it doesn't fucking matter in the world of the internet. Everything is recycled information. So
I have a graduate school story about plagiarism where another student accused me of plagiarism, and she was
Shut up.
And she was like, I'm going to report this to the authorities.
Oh my.
And I emailed her back. I was like, don't you dare. You know why?
Oh, did you plagiarize?
No.
There's no way you
I
did.
was doing a research paper and I cited the sources in quotes. And she goes, this was the peer editor. She was like,
the peer
she
editor.
was like, I noticed that a tremendous amount of your paper was taken directly from other sources. I was like, did you not understand the assignment? Okay, go ahead.
Do you know what a research paper is? Okay, yeah, that's my fault for doing that to us, but okay.
Go ahead.
So this is a summary of Maid in Manhattan. Marissa Ventura Lopez is a single mother born and bred in the Bronx who works as a maid in a first-class Manhattan hotel. By a twist of fate and mistaken identity, Marissa meets Christopher Marshall, who is played by Ralph Fiennes, a handsome debonair heir to a political dynasty who believes that she is a guest at the hotel. Uh-oh. Fate steps in and throws the unlikely pair together for a magical night of romance. When Marissa's true identity is revealed, Maid, the two find that they are worlds apart, even though the distance separating them is just a subway ride between Manhattan and the Bronx. Cut to a happy ending. Love is love. I loved that. That was brilliant.
The last line I did write on my own.
Cut to a happy end. Yeah, love is love. Love is love. I was going to attribute that to you.
Thank
I think
you.
that's your quote. If I'm not mistaken. You
I
pioneered
came
that.
up with that.
You came up with love is love.
In my free time.
I'm so ready. In your all your free time, just writing prose. You're like, look what I spun today, Chanel.
So I know that you love this movie. You've said it a few times in a text, and you just said it
just a few million
moments ago. You repeated it again, and I do like the movie. I like it a lot, but
it's quirky.
It is quirky. Now, here, first of all, the summary, when I heard it read back to me, even though I had wrote it, I found myself nodding because I agree. Those are all the events. Those are all the events that happen in this movie. For sure. I have no problem with those events. Watching the movie again this time, I found that those events, Jennifer Lopez, New York City, were all just window dressing for a larger messaging apparatus. And this is
I'm ready. I'm listening.
This is not the first time I brought this event up on the pod, and I know sometimes when we do it, it seems like we're making light of it, but we're not. This movie to me is the ultimate post 9/11 movie. It is conservative propaganda. It is very, very conservative. And if you were to tell me that this movie was produced by the George Bush Foundation for
yes.
Post 9/11 thoughts and feelings, and or the Richard Nixon Presidential Library, I would say,
oh my goodness, yes.
I would say I would feel more comfortable if that was the case, because then I would understand why by minute 5 we are talking about Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon.
And why he was a good person.
I know we needed like a sticker that was like funded by the RNC.
Okay, I've seen this movie a few times. I can't say I've seen it more than 3 times. I would be lying if I said it more than 3 times.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I have either.
Do not remember
the Nixon spin.
The Nixon conservative Republican. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's the agenda in this movie.
There's a little something up.
Oh, there is something up. So
I'm shook to my core to watch this as an adult and discover that it's what you said, Republican propaganda. I stand by that.
Absolutely. This is 2002. This is post 9/11. This was when, George Bush popularity, we forget it now, but in that 2002 year, like, George Bush's popularity was really high. And
off the charts, yeah.
And
uniting the two sides.
Yeah, people were on board with a little conservative agenda and
little
values.
flair.
And I found it really strong in this movie.
Oh, is it strong?
Oh, was
It's
it
like,
strong?
yeah, the Nixon speak in the beginning floored me.
From a child, no less.
Floored me from a little kid.
Right.
Do you want to talk about his speech or anything? Or
Well, I think
he's although he's a liar.
I want to build to that, but I want to start with just
Okay.
like the opening of the movie.
Yes,
Because, okay, so the movie opens with Jennifer Lopez. Well, first it opens with kind of these sweeping shots of Manhattan, of New York
second
City.
star.
A lot of buildings, like a lot of like
Buildings.
skyscrapers and like stonework, ironwork. And this
We're
is
swiping through Manhattan, baby.
but this is something we're going to see throughout the movie a lot, where they are constantly showing us these structures, like these really sturdy buildings. And again, I really want the tone to be correct here, but it really
Where's
felt
this going?
like, it really felt like the title in particular, okay, Maid in Manhattan.
Made in Manhattan.
Maid also sounds like the word maid, right? Because it sounds the same. M-A-D-E.
Yes.
Maid in Manhattan. It almost felt like they were telling us, I don't know why I'm laughing. They were telling us that these buildings are
also
strong.
made here.
Yeah. Like everything's okay. Like that's what I felt like they were telling us. They were showing us these buildings that were standing, and they were telling us that everything was okay.
Everything is fine, peachy keen,
Yeah.
shiny, bright, strong.
Absolutely.
I love an opening of stock footage.
Yeah.
Just could have been pulled from anywhere.
Right. Like the city,
stock footage, any movie.
is fine. You want to know what's not
She's
fine?
good.
The single parent household. Because as
The
soon as they
single-parent
cut to
household is
Jennifer Lopez's
lacking.
home, she's okay. Maybe she didn't get a good night's sleep, but she's got a little bit of an attitude when she's waking up her son.
Ty.
They're not
was
really
obsessed with Ty.
You can tell they don't have a morning routine. Right? It's almost like the first time they're getting ready for their day.
It's like Chanel getting ready every morning as opposed
She's
to
like,
Steven.
flustered.
Oh my God.
Come on,
You have
Ty.
your speech today.
And,
Yeah. Getting ready for a kiddie speech is no joke.
right.
Get up, buddy.
And
Get up, bro.
it's not the first day of school because she's wearing kind of a chunky sweater.
Oh, I appreciated her outfits in this way more than Monster-in-Law. I feel like this was way more, at least it was way more timeless. I was like, okay, this isn't a certain time or place.
Oh, I loved her looks. I thought she looked beautiful.
I loved her looks
hair
in this. It
pulled
was
back.
just so
She
understated.
looked beautiful.
Yes. Perfect. Also, I have to say a really big thing for me
What?
is the opening song, You, Me, and Julio Down by the Schoolyard.
It was a
So I
great
just want-
movie song.
It's an amazing movie song. I just want the listeners and you right now to know that I thought that this song was from this movie. In the way that we all thought Don't Stop Believin' was made for Glee.
Oh,
I just was like, this song only exists in this movie. It was written for this movie. It was made for this movie.
Yeah.
And I spent years believing this until I realized, no, it's an old song.
yeah.
Old song from the 70s? Because there's a strong 70s lean in this with Ty.
Well, very strong 70s. But
Ty's a little obsessed with the 70s.
and we'll get to that, but
Yeah.
the opening scene is also really fun because Jennifer Lopez is so beautiful in the opening scene that like they're not even trying to pretend that this isn't Jennifer Lopez. So it really is just like watching Jennifer Lopez do things, which is another
know.
title for this movie. Because
Jennifer Lopez does things.
it's like you get to watch her make breakfast. You get to watch her put coins into the bus. You get to watch her.
Oh yeah, the coins.
coins.
That was scene stealing.
I'm sorry.
That was utterly.
I was mesmerized by her
I
putting
was
the coins
mesmerized.
into the bus.
Me too. I like had a real moment where I was like, oh my. First of all, stunning. Second of all, I was like, have I ever done that? Have I ever put coins in a bus like
Never.
that? it really put the mirror on me, you know? I was like,
And I
wow,
love what she did with
it's
that scene. She
phenomenal.
kind of, she put 4 easy coins in, and then she
The
made a
latter
choice.
few were
She's like, oof,
tough.
oof, and she found them.
Oh my. Yeah, I think we're supposed to get, I'm struggling. Struggling.
Absolutely. Her as a single parent, she's struggling.
Struggle. Yeah. Poor woman. I had a real hard time too with like the way they handled that, because I'm just like, I think she must make a decent amount of money in that hotel, especially with tips. So I don't know.
Here's what this movie is not going to do. This movie is not going to reveal any
Anything socioeconomic wise
truths about
this woman.
working in the hospitality industry.
I know.
Because
it's too good.
what this movie seems to be promoting is that hospitality is a great place to work because
Hospitality's good, family.
you have a good work-life
They're all
balance.
a big family.
You have friends. There's upward mobility in the job. There's management positions open to you.
From within, very easy. Just apply. Just have your friend apply for you.
So if you're looking for a reality check on what it's like to work in the hospitality industry,
This not your film.
not for you. But
Not for you, baby.
no, it's not a documentary. It is not. So she finally gets to work, even though
Yeah, she cuts in line for a New York Street coffee. I just want to point out.
yeah. Could
Then
you
goes to
imagine
work.
if I had been waiting on that line and then this woman
Just waltzes up.
and throws money down and takes a coffee? I'd be like absolutely
bitch.
not.
There's a line, ma'am. Get in line.
And when she does roll up to work, and this is something that I would always judge people on, is that when she finally does get to work, the guy is like, J-Lo, you're like literally cutting it close again. Like you're very almost late. And she has like a sandwich and a coffee. Whenever people show up to work late with coffee, I'm like,
Classic Chanel. Oh, yeah. I know you're one of those. I judge too,
I judge.
but like I'm going to do it. As far as I'm concerned, the coffee buys me an extra 5. They're like, oh, you would have been on time if you didn't get this coffee.
Okay, wait. She goes to work.
It's like a weird
She
thing
goes
to
to
do in my
work,
head.
and one of my favorite scenes of the movie was the staff meeting because
Oh, my goodness.
what's her name?
Unhinged.
Frances Conroy is the chief maid woman, and
Is that her BFF?
no, Frances
Oh, okay,
Conroy
sorry.
was like the head lady who runs
Okay, the head bitch in
meeting.
charge. Got it.
But I love the staff meeting. I wrote down the staff meeting was exciting because it
was so exciting.
I love the advice that she gave, which was that you should strive. This is something that I would recommend, especially for people who are just starting out in a new place, or even as a veteran. At work, you should strive to be invisible. That is really
Great
good
advice.
Really good
It really
advice.
is. That's the advice that's going to keep you there for a long time.
Yeah. I think we were supposed
Just-
to hear that and think, oh, she's anti-maid,
Yeah. And this movie makes it a point to say maid. You're the maid
Yeah.
as many times as humanly possible from as many inappropriate sources as humanly possible.
Right. And I know we don't use that term anymore in the same way that we don't use the word stewardess, but
The maid.
Wait,
oh my God. We might have to cut this, but
What?
I have these neighbors across the street at my parents' house.
and they're all
they have
maids. No.
They are a bunch, it's like a family of 3 kids, a mom and a dad, and my mom will sometimes babysit the kids, and the kids will come over, and they have a cleaning lady who comes and just cleans the house. And
As if
I
they
feel
could
like
hear
I have to
you.
whisper. They can hear me. The kids come over, and they're like, oh, the maid moved my homework. And I'm like, oh my God, it is so jarring to hear maid now.
Yeah.
We do not say that. And my mom has started correcting them. She'll be like, sweetie, what's her name? Jackie? Okay, we don't call her the maid. They're like, they call her the maid.
God.
It's so insane.
Okay, so clearly
So it's just jarring
this nation
now,
has
but
some
like,
work to do with that word.
yes. But maid is like used aplenty up top.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something else about that meeting is they all seem to know their clientele really personally. And
Yeah.
like it seems like these people are constantly staying at this hotel, and JLo makes a comment about how she knows some guys lactose intolerant, and I'm like, what the fuck? How do you know that?
They seem to know a lot about the guests, and
It's just creepy.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love a
But
real
you're
look
right
behind the
though.
curtain.
You're right though that they are communicating that in this staff meeting that out of all these dozens of maids, JLo is pretty talented.
She's the best maid. She's
because
the best one.
she's so intuitive that when she finds out that one of the guests likes lavender scents, she gets a bunch of lavender and just leaves it on the pillow. To which she gets the feedback. I wrote this down.
Nice touch.
Lavender, you are very creative.
So creative.
So creative.
I think I was so confused because I've never worked in hospitality or specifically as like in a hotel as a maid, and I'm just like, is that part of the job description? Is this above and beyond? Is this like,
right?
Did she have to go on her lunch break to buy this lavender?
Exactly.
Like, for me, it was expected. I was like, okay, you're supposed to do that, but I think the movie, like you said, is trying to communicate. No, she's the best one.
She's the best maid.
She's the best maid.
Right.
Not just a maid, the best maid.
Right.
So that was confusing. I think it's confusing if you're not in the industry. So
right.
Take that for what you will, folks.
Yeah, she's really talented. We go through her whole day and the comings and goings in the hotel.
Yeah, a little taste of what reality's like for our single mom, JLo.
Right. But then she has to head out later that day to go to her son's speech.
Speech night? Question mark?
A speech
what is this night?
Speech on what? Because
dogs, puppies. Maybe a persuasive speech on why we should get soda in the vending machines.
None of those. It was
Nope.
None of those topics were what the speech was on. But what was in all seriousness though, what was the speech on? Was he okay, from what I took was it was a defense of Richard Nixon's policies.
Richard Nixon.
Right? That was the topic of the speech.
That's what I thought. I thought maybe the assignment might have been like a persuasive speech, like persuade us one way or the other on someone.
Almost like you were assigned. Like, even though you don't want to do this, you have to defend Richard Nixon.
Exactly. The only way this makes sense to me
that's not what it was.
is he was chosen out of a hat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ty
chose that.
Jennifer Lopez, a single mom, her son chose to do a defensive speech on the one and only Richard Nixon, and I was floored when I realized
that's what
he's saying. He's like, I know he lied and I know he cheated.
That's a
and
good
blah, blah,
impression.
Blah, but
that's what he sounded like.
Love Ty.
Yeah.
I was in love with Ty when I was a kid. I had a huge crush on him. So weird. I know, revealing a lot about myself.
Oh, is that
but
a Nixon poster behind you? No, just kidding.
Republicans for Nixon.
Yeah.
No, it was so wild. I had so many questions. First, I'm like, why couldn't this just be a talent show? And then I realized we had to ram the agenda through the movie.
Right.
So this had to be speech night.
Right.
And I can only hope that this was a practice in public speaking for 9-year-olds, which,
it felt so, like, as the audience, I was like, I felt so manipulated because, like,
it felt
forcing
like a doc.
you to feel bad for him, and they're also
Nixon.
forcing you to feel bad for Richard Nixon. Like, they're doing two things at once in this scene, and watching it now, it was just so shocking.
I know. I'm happy that when I was 10, I probably paper shredded this moment.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I probably could have come away from this movie like, wow, Nixon didn't deserve what he got. Oh, yeah, Ty says, like, I know he's the only president to have ever resigned or something, but...
Right.
It's like, oh, my goodness. Oh, man.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Ty bombs his speech, and the teacher...
Which I'd argue he doesn't even really bomb. He just kind of walks off.
He gives up.
Do you know what I mean? He gives up.
He gives up because his dad isn't there, and Jennifer Lopez is not enough as a single parent.
Not good enough.
to
Exactly.
support him. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not endorsing that message. That's what the movie is telling
That's what the
me.
movie gives us. Yeah. No. None of this is us.
Yeah,
spinning
we're not
anything. This is the
pontificating
film.
here. But
Exactly.
okay, at the
Yeah. So then she has to take Ty. Oh no, you want to say at the end?
okay, but no. I was just gonna say when they get home,
Yeah.
she gives him the Nixon tapes as a gift. That's his gift. Are the Nixon tapes?
It's like you're supposed to get the idea that she's encouraging her son to follow his curiosity.
Yeah.
And he seems to be very curious about the 70s.
Sure.
Okay, great. The Nixon tapes?
Right.
Really? The agenda in this movie is so sneaky too because they're packaging it through a little fucking kid, which is so fucked up.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
like, he's into it. He's fine. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine, if not better, if you could get on board with Richard Nixon.
I have a crazy reveal from the IMDb page. I don't know if this will mean anything as much to you as it means to me.
Okay.
John Hughes is credited as the story writer for this.
Really?
And he did like all those 80s flicks like the Pretty in Pinks and the Breakfast Clubs.
Yeah.
I'm shocked to my core that John Hughes' name is on this. I don't know why. He's probably a Republican.
I mean, it might have been
At least
some
how in the early
80s Reagan
2000s.
nostalgia seeping in here.
So weird. Just such a weird choice to... This movie is so 2002.
It does
It's
feel
ridiculous.
weird, but it also, this is again, like, it feels so post 9/11 where it was like, like,
I wonder where they shot.
like conservative Republican values were not
Are
goffed
everyone.
at.
They're everyone's
We're
values.
not goffed at,
Yeah.
like, in the way that there is today. Of course, there were people
know.
who would have found the Nixon messaging appalling, but I bet it wasn't as like sensational as when you watch it now.
Yeah, now this movie is really shocking. At the time, I think it really was like we were a little more united on this message. Like,
Well,
yeah, this is fine.
not just like, and I felt like it wasn't as much like partisan. It certainly is partisan, but it was also like a uniting in like the history of the country. Like this movie was basically saying like everybody was a part of this. Like we are all on board with this messaging of Nixon through everything. And like that's okay because that's who we are. And like obviously that's like
Yeah.
problematic, but it was
Yeah,
very
I think
sneaky.
that the meaning we're gleaning from it now was not what was taken in 2002. I think in 2002 this was so lighthearted and just so innocent, which is just it's really wild to see how far we've come for sure.
Yeah, because like
And-
Nixon jokes are like all over the like Nixon jokes are in tons of movies, but like this was not a joke.
He's
is
a real
serious.
fan. This is his Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was wild to me. I just have like a lot of notes about how like the undercurrent of this movie is a Latina dating a Republican.
Oh wait, don't you mean a
And
Mediterranean woman?
Oh, Mediterranean! I know I really wanted to talk
We'll
about
get to
that.
that.
Oh
We'll get to
my goodness. Okay, we'll get there. Okay. So she takes Ty to work with her and he just like runs, gets to run around the hotel, run amok.
Yeah,
And the next thing we know, he like runs into the senator, Ray Fiennes, and his dog, and then they all end up on a walk together.
right.
And J-Lo is in a beautiful, what is it, a Dolce & Gabbana
Yeah,
suit?
Dolce & Gabbana, like this white suit. He had caught her
Yeah,
trying
beautiful.
it on, and he thinks that she works in the hotel, but... And I wrote down, I was like, wow, she is a really natural liar. And I love that. I am a terrible liar. I crack instantly. This woman
Instant.
lies with
Willy-nilly.
the fortitude of anyone, someone I've never seen before. Like she is very
Almost like she has a movie script telling her, like, this is what you say now.
exactly as if,
She's a
as
really
if
good
the
actor.
lines are being piped into her from another source. But
Yeah, kind of weird, but works.
I was like, wow, you're a really good liar. But
Yeah. This is another rule of Star Vehicles. Also, I wanted to mention a bunch of dogs. And
yeah, I love a dog scene.
always a dog scene. And when they're in the park, another Dalmatian.
Was there a Dalmatian?
My friend, when have you ever seen a Dalmatian in the wild?
You never see them.
Give me a figure.
Only in cartoons do you see Dalmatians.
Once again, the movie gods have put together a ragtag. It's when Ty, they're in the park and Ty is like, oh my God, there's the dog walker shows up.
Oh, right,
and
right.
There's a Dalmatian again. Do better, casting people. Like the same way all the extras are always white. Fact, not me, making it up. Go count. The dogs there's always a Dalmatian. There's no Dalmatians in the wild.
I bet when they filmed that scene, Jennifer Lopez saw that dog walker, and I bet she like wrote down in her journal, I'd like to try that one day. And then when they got to Monster,
maybe in 2005,
when they got to Monster-in-Law, she was like,
I want to be a dog walker.
I have an idea.
Yeah, the similarities between these movies are pretty great. Almost like I would want to come up with a list of star vehicle like attributes.
Yeah.
Like we've got the play on words title, we've got a Dalmatian, Stanley Tucci getting yanked by a dog in the lobby of this hotel.
So fun.
A dog yank. You're holding a leash and
yeah. Classic funny moment.
So funny. Always plays wide.
Yeah.
That's a bipartisan scene.
There you go.
It's a global law.
Yeah.
For the masses. Yeah, so I just have in the park, the Dalmatian. When have you ever seen a Dalmatian? And that's kind of when you find out for certain this man is a Republican.
Oh my God. He is a Republican because they also, first of all, they sort of, I don't know if they tell us it already or if it's Ty or who it is, but somebody essentially says like something, as long as you're not a Democrat. That's a line in this movie.
I know.
But
and
you're
we
right,
never
though,
get a
that
confirmation.
by this scene, we are already told that he's a Republican. Mm-hmm. And not only is he...
Yeah, we know he's running on the Republican ticket.
And not only is he a Republican, he's part of a multi-generational political family.
A dynasty.
The president at the time.
Oh my God.
Isn't that weird?
It's
I don't know.
Just a little weird.
It's almost like they planned it.
This is a plant.
Right?
I know people are so worried about us getting trackers implanted into us. Hello, this is the ultimate mind control. Get in the heads through a movie. And he was so sympathetic. What a sympathetic character. I'm like, wow, I like this Republican. He is kind and cares about the housing projects. That's what they were really trying to drill home.
Oh,
he's a Republican who cares.
Yeah,
it was so aux.
He is so down to earth that he's willing to chase this hot lady into the park, even if it means he'll have to give a speech apologizing for it. That's how of the people he is.
Oh my God, they're really trying to drill that point home. But they let him get off so easy in this movie, and that's what really pisses me off. I mean, I know it's supposed to be light and just easy, but like even her jabs back at him when he's like, oh, I'm going to the housing projects to give a speech on like low income housing. She's like, why don't you spend a moment in the housing projects, buddy? And it's just like, okay.
And then
let's explore that.
We never get a scene.
we never get
the scene. Okay, that scene in particular, we really need to drill down into, because like after they have their day in the park, he announces that he's going to go to the housing projects to give a speech, and Jennifer Lopez kind of scoffs at the idea. Keep in mind that like he does not think that she is Latina. He assumes that she's Mediterranean.
So I'm taking that as a microaggression at this point.
You think?
In 2021. It's fucked up.
It's crazy. Okay,
God.
This scene was really strange because I think there was a script error, because he says, how would you know whatever, the Bronx? And she was like, because I grew up there and I've lived in a 4-block radius my whole life. She's telling him that she lives in the Bronx.
I'm the maid.
Now. She just said that. She just said that she lives in the Bronx.
I know.
Why
and
would
he's
she
like,
be at a hotel 15 minutes away?
Yeah.
I was like, when I saw that moment, I was like, oh my God, like this is the moment, right? When he finds out that she is not who she says she is. But he was like, okay.
I think the movie works so well because notoriously what they're feeding us is men don't listen. Like, I didn't bat an eyelash at this scene.
Right?
Because I'm like, oh, he
in one ear,
he
out
heard
the
her.
other.
He heard her, but he didn't listen.
No, exactly.
Because she reveals exactly who she is in that moment of time.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, she could be vacationing, 30 blocks south.
This is like at work when we had to go to a professional development class on active listening.
Active listening.
Which is just...
You could tell he's not listening at all.
The big difference between, hearing someone and listening to someone.
He heard her. He didn't listen. He's just looking at that cream-colored coat.
Other witnesses, and no one else heard it either. Like, no one was listening.
I was pretty shook by that too. I'm like, she just revealed exactly who she is.
And like Stanley Tucci was like, oh my God, he pulled one of the interns or whatever and was like, we need to find out who this woman is. And I'm like, she just told you.
She told you where she lives.
Yeah.
Go find the 4-block radius. Go to your meeting there. And that's when we get Ralph Fiennes in the hotel to Tucci going, find her. And he's like, who am I looking for or whatever? And he's like, Mediterranean woman.
5'9", got a little kid.
Oh my God, I know. He goes like 5'6", 5'7", Mediterranean. J-Lo's 5'2". Oh. I was crying at that point. Because, okay, I only know this because J-Lo...
Model thin, big teeth.
I'm like, okay, so not only is he not listening, he's also not looking. And I told you, I think it worked and it plays completely because it's like men don't listen. Yeah. Men don't look past something of a sexy object.
Okay, I am so glad that you are bringing this up because this was one of this really solidified for me that my working thesis of the movie was correct. Was that, and we've seen this in other movies we've looked at, but this is the worst. This is the worst one that I've seen. In terms of, there is not just no chemistry between these two people, there is negative chemistry. There is negative. They hate each other. They both like the child more than they like each other. And
yeah, Ty did a great job relating to the two of them. Like, I believed him.
But what was so interesting about their relationship, or rather his relationship with her, was that he knows, and we've seen this before, but it's worked to better effect. He knows nothing about her. In fact, everything he knows about her is a lie. The only thing that he knows about her is
all fake.
As if he took a Polaroid picture of her and rubbed Vaseline on the lens and was looking at that. That's basically the vision.
5'6", 5'7", Mediterranean.
He has no information about her, and yet he craves her. And I'm skipping ahead, but we're not going to jump to the end yet. But when she is, taken away from him, and they decide that they're not going to be together, to him it's almost like no loss. He's just kind of like whatever, and then the kid will bring them together. But I'm like, did you guys even really? You guys didn't really even like each other, Because when he has to leave her, he's kind of like, all right,
okay, no sweat off my back.
He's known her for my dynasty. He's known her for a collective
couple hours,
4 hours.
And Tucci is doing great best friend work of just oh my God, the press is gonna have a field day with this.
And by the way, he's right. He's right. He is being irresponsible. Okay, the best friend work in this movie is amazing. Stanley Tucci
is impeccable. And her best friend,
Amy Sedaris, who is Natasha Richardson's best friend.
Is that Maid?
Okay, a lot of her dialogue. I know she didn't come up with it herself. It was
her
really problematic what she was saying, but how she said it was truly
off the charts.
Incredible.
Maria.
Charlie Marshall? As in Charlie Marshall?
It's too good. Even J-Lo's best friend, the New Yorker, she's like, Yeah, did you get to see his, pepperoni?
Oh my God. She is so
wild.
So lucky that woman should have been manager because she is the patience of a saint.
I know.
The way that
Patience
Jennifer
of a
Lopez
saint.
treats her friend is
Trash. Like she's the maid. Get out of here, maid.
she's so mean to this woman.
The levels of classism in this movie are actually like triple fold. It's like we have the politicians and then we have classism within the maids.
Absolutely.
Like I'm the better maid.
Yeah, and like the only like reasonable explanation is that like Jennifer Lopez is hotter, and that's why she's.
That's what the movie will have you believe.
That's why she's.
Her uniform fits better.
Yeah, that's why she's the better maid.
She's a prettier face.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, yeah. So, did we get to the coming out scene yet? I think maybe.
Well, what they're building towards is that she's going to have one last night with him. Because
yeah, that made no sense too. Did you understand the logic of this?
Okay, so here is while all this was going down, there is an internal HR hunt for the next manager of something. Room service, unclear. And
yeah, some sort of just manager position.
Assistant manager.
Real vague.
Incredibly vague. Jennifer Lopez, I guess, is nominated by her friend, which is very nice of her friend to do. And
super nice of her friend. She should have taken it.
Moves forward with the process, and then they find out that she's been lying. And she's been stealing hotel guest clothing to masquerade as someone else.
Yeah, masquerading. Masqueraded.
And I was like, I wonder if this happens in hotels. But
truly wanted to know.
Is this a true okay. Is it a true story?
John Hughes, is this a true story?
Is it a true story? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'd imagine that this happens. That
it has
maids
to
might. Yeah, like some workers of hotels might try on your clothes. Why not?
Why not?
I would.
Why not?
I'd put on a coat.
Yeah, it's
Who
a coat.
cares? Not a bathing suit bottom, but like a coat.
That crosses the line. But an overcoat.
Not like lingerie,
yeah,
but a coat.
Why not? Just for size.
Yeah, just try it on. You might want to buy it later. See if it fits.
Yeah. So she gets caught for doing that, and essentially they tell her, since he's a guest at the hotel, she has to go to the benefit with him to make him happy.
That made no sense.
But she has to break up with him at the event. Otherwise, she can no longer be the manager. Was that the logic?
Made me short circuit.
I think that's what they said, right?
That's literally what he said. He's like, here. I literally went back. Like, I had to rewind this part and to see if I heard correctly.
Oh,
he was like, I suggest you go.
I remember now.
He's like, here's the invitation. I suggest you go with Chris Marshall.
Yeah.
And then when you're there, break it off with him, at least until you're manager.
Right.
What?
Because the butler tells her that, the head butler, because he's like, he's not the manager. He's just telling her like, buddy. Listen, if you don't want to get in trouble, break it off now, but go with him because otherwise he's going to have like a meltdown.
Yeah, he's going to have a hissy fit.
So she gets dolled up.
And like, I don't know where she found the donations for this, but okay.
Yeah. Are we to assume that all the other maids pulled their money together to buy the dress?
I wanted a little something. I was under the impression that she rented that diamond necklace, right? Because the way the shop owner gives the kid the rundown.
The diamond necklace.
I mean, stunning, but also like she's not going to the Met Gala. So like, why is she being gifted this like donation?
Unclear. She gets dressed up, and we've seen these transformative scenes before in these movies. This one just didn't pack as much of a punch because she is so beautiful to be.
She was already hot.
She was already hot. And we had already had a scene where she had put on rich lady clothing. So
yeah, so she just looked the part, quite honestly.
Right. It was a normal dressing scene rather than a like, oh my God, we're going to take this Uggo and make her hot.
I know, we didn't even need the montage. Like, he could have just sent ahead a dress and she just put it on.
Right.
And it fit.
Right.
I mean, she looked stunning. I guess she rented this diamond necklace.
She had to have.
That's because like they were giving the kid the 1-2.
Yeah.
Like, and if it leaves her neck, what's gonna happen? And he's like, I'm gonna go to prison or something.
Yeah, it was something. It was a weird consequence.
He's not even going to the party with her. How is he gonna keep track of it? But okay, let's give him some trauma while we're at it.
Yeah, let's not have the 12-year-old pick up the 28-carat diamond necklace. But
yeah, and I feel like okay, so the I'm coming out scene I think was right before this. You know that song, I'm coming
oh
out.
yeah,
And it's just worth mentioning that I also thought that song was written and made specifically for this movie.
uh-oh.
The best use of this song and You, Me, and Julio in cinema history. I'm just gonna go on record with that.
It certainly made sense. She was going out, so
I'm coming out. And there was a little bit of choreo in that scene.
oh yeah,
They wait for like the beat to drop, and then J-Lo like spins her head around and gives us 2 little head bumps.
yes, absolutely.
And you can see the bones there, like you can see the rehearsal. Like she's clearly on an 8 count.
Yeah, they were playing in the background. We knew that because she was hitting the beat pretty closely.
But okay, so she goes to this insufferable dinner.
This was the most boring scene in the whole movie for me.
It was so boring. It was supposed to be like the climactic moment where she gets to live as somebody else.
Right.
And her best friend is like, this is who you really are. Which is exactly how she sounded.
That is exactly how she sounds.
She's like, for one night, you're not the maid. This is who you really are. It's so good. And I just wrote, I love This Is Who You Really Are escapism. Like we were all looking for that.
Yeah.
You know, Princess Diaries at the time.
Well, it's also
This
just
is
like
this is
begs
who
the
you
question,
are.
then what is she now? Like what is she at the party? She's
Like a fake socialite.
she's no one. She's a liar.
A Republican.
She's
A first lady. It's so good. It's really too good.
She honestly, it's hard to even talk about the party scene because I don't even really remember what happens. All I remember.
Oh yeah, almost nothing.
All I remember
it's
is
just a
that
lot of
she
Natasha Richardson.
fails at breaking off their relationship,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she goes home with him to
Uh-huh.
her place of
And
business.
That was shocking. That was so shocking.
When they cut to the hotel room, and the rain was slapping up against the window.
I was like, that's a lot of fucking
so
rain.
much rain.
A lot of hose work went into this film. some PA just wetting down the side of the window.
It was a truly catastrophic amount of rainfall. And the lights dimmed. I said to myself, "Don't watch." And I
Look away.
I looked down because there was no. These two could have been brother and sister at this point for the level of intimacy that we had, because.
And thank God there's a cutaway.
Thank God.
Because I didn't want to see that.
I was really dreading that they were going to give us a kiss or petting.
Yeah, some back sex acting.
No, they just kind of give us a scene where she sits down and he, makes eye contact, and then
creepy. Also, it's Voldemort. I want to point out.
Yeah.
This is Voldemort.
Yeah.
This man is a mere 5 years away from the no-nose bald Voldemort role.
When we can see that transition happening in front of our eyes.
I can see his pointy teeth, and I'm like, I gotta go. Get me out of here.
It was not sexy.
Yeah. Not sexy in the least. So thank God we got a cutaway, but we did get a little bit of Nora Jones, which is a real portrait of 2002. I just want to point out. I waited till I saw the sun. And I feel like for the longest time, I was like, this is sexy music.
Right. That was honestly the only clue that it was a sexy time, because
that song, yes, I agree 100%.
Because what we were visually seeing was the opposite.
The opposite of sexy.
It was not sexy.
If you told me that they just they just laid down together and watched a movie, I'd be like, mm-hmm.
It would have been more believable.
Happened. It would have been way more believable.
If they sat down to watch the Nixon tapes or something.
Listen to
them.
Get Ty in here.
Dark.
He's got something to show you.
In the dark. Listening to the Nixon
they whip out
tapes.
a Walkman.
Yeah. Keep up the good voting record.
Oh, that was so fucking weird too.
That was such a weird statement.
Oh my God. Okay, so she wakes up and like sneaks out.
Hold on. She wakes up.
Hold on, bitch.
She has taken off the dress, which is fine because you went to bed. She slept in that necklace. Ow, ow, ow. Mm-hmm. Ow.
Oh, jeez.
Ow. My neck. I can't imagine sleeping with a heavy necklace like that.
I know it's annoying, but I was real glad to see it for Ty's sake, honestly. I was like, oh.
Otherwise,
cool,
prison time for Ty.
Prison time.
And he probably likes that kind
out of the
more
necklace.
rigid criminal justice system approach from the 70s.
Put them away forever. Yeah. That's how we reform people. We don't. They're not worth it.
One shot.
Goes along with miscongeniality. Harsher punishment for parole violator.
It is actually.
It's a good segue film. But like they made such a point out of don't lose that necklace that you would almost think it was going to be a plot point that she loses the necklace.
Oh, absolutely.
That she just doesn't.
She doesn't lose it. We don't see it get returned. We don't see any sort of inspection. We don't see any of that.
They made such a point of it. It's like they really actually could have used that. They could have been like, the maid stole the necklace.
Oh my God.
Which would have been good.
That would have been really good.
Right? It would have been amazing. Because it could really make Chris turn. Wow. Is his name Chris?
Who?
Charlie? The
no,
politician.
Chris.
Charlie.
Chris.
It's a C name. C name could have been like, oh my God, I've been with someone who steals, which is way worse than someone who just puts on a coat, the wrong coat, and like masquerades around as somebody white.
Okay, that would have actually been a better reveal, is that if Natasha Richardson had spotted her in the hallway and instead of having to roll through security footage to be like, is this woman who's pretending to be me also a maid? If she had reported that a maid had stolen the necklace, then
her necklace
that went back to the jewelry store. The jewelry store kidnaps her son. And then Jennifer Lopez has to turn herself in as both people to get her son back.
Oh, much better.
Isn't that better?
You really need to up that drama and that tension and make us believe that that the lie was bad.
Then there's a consequence.
Yeah, show us the consequence. Show us that there are consequences for actions. Seriously, I think we needed it. But it's not the movie we got. No. So in the hallway as she's sneaking out, doesn't Amy Sedaris go, "Isn't that Maid?"
She's a real eagle eye, that Amy Sedaris.
Yeah, she's just got her eye on everything. Eyes in the back of her head. And then they have their dramatic moment in the street where everything kind of spills out.
Yeah.
That she did wear Natasha Richardson's coat and has been, pretending to be Caroline, and she's not really Caroline.
No.
And before the big reveal,
guess what? She's not even Mediterranean. We come to find out.
Ventura.
Big shock.
Marissa Ventura. Also, my mom's maiden name is Ventura, and my mom is Mediterranean, which is quite funny.
And your mom was
just throwing that out there.
Maid.
My mom was a maid. My mom's a great. You know what? My mom's a great maid, and I mean that as a compliment.
Oh my God.
She's real good at it. She would do the lavender on the pillow. 100.
You're so creative.
But I'm dead at this line. So they're in the street, and this is before everything kind of spills out, and the politician, Charles, goes,
Christopher.
His name's Christopher?
Yes, his name is Christopher.
What is his name?
That's his name.
I keep calling him Charles. Yeah. Okay.
Christopher is his name.
Christopher, she's in her maid's outfit again, and Christopher goes, "Why are you dressed that way?" Which, oh my goodness, is so funny on so many levels to me. And I just had to imagine that maybe the backstory he gave his character in that moment was she's dressing as a maid to be sexy.
Yeah.
That's the read on it.
It could have been anything. It could have been, and we've seen these kind of sexy. It was like when Sandra Bullock wore the sexy milkmaid outfit to play the water glass.
Yes, the German milkmaid, just to do a musical number.
He's like, oh, she's doing a little tease for me.
She's doing a bit.
Yeah. Why are you dressed that way?
And it's like a really authentic Maid outfit too. Like, this is not the Party City Maid outfit.
It has a name tag.
This is like this one is like the real
Yeah.
one. And I know
It covers everything.
we're reading. I know we're going too much into it. It's just so hilarious to me because I know it's just a function of a really like a script that has an agenda.
Sure.
And the agenda is like otherize her. Maid. Why are you dressed that way? Are you a maid? Like, that's what we're supposed to ask.
Yeah.
But I just had a real fun time imagining that he thought it was a sexy bit.
He's
Oh
really
my goodness.
clueless.
Yeah. Well, he's not listening.
He's not listening and he's not seeing.
Yeah. Good thing they cast like a real white man to do this because it's the only way it makes
And
sense.
he's
You're like,
so blah.
Yeah, he sucks, man. Give him his British accent back. That's what I'll take that.
Right? Like, just
But
be yourself.
Brits can't. Can Brits run for Senate? Probably not.
I don't know.
Oh my God. So she gets fired.
Rightfully
but takes,
so,
like,
by the way.
Rightfully so. That would make sense. If you caught your maid doing that and going out like that, dating the politician is not the crime. The crime is the jacket.
The crime was the
clothes.
theft.
Yeah, the theft in quotes. But yeah, so yes, that made sense. She would definitely get fired in real life.
Or at least a suspension.
At least a suspension. Mm-hmm. And then are we led to believe she takes the whole day before going back home? She just like sits on a swing set and kind of takes her time.
That was a strange
That was muddy.
kind of montage of morning scenes where she kind of sits and mopes. And I get it. No one likes to lose their job. But
Yeah,
she sits on a swing set and then she goes home. And who is that? Her mom?
Where Mama is. Mommy
Her
dearest.
mama.
Mama is like, hospitality called. We expected you hours ago. Which is so rude. So rude.
And then
another clunky screenplay like idea. Like, we know what happened. We don't have to talk about it, but you've been moping.
But anyway, she has to admit to her mom that she's unemployed.
Fired.
But she has a pretty solid plan. She's just going to get another job and apply for the management track.
And be a manager again. Which
I don't
the
even know why
pipeline
I'm
from maid to
I don't
manager.
know why I'm laughing. It's just...
No, it's so funny. I didn't know that there was a pipeline from maid to manager.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't even understand there was crossover in the two jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think there is. I think one is managing human beings and the other is like truly doing the work. And when she was like training to be manager, like earlier in the movie, you see her just like placing glasses and they're like, yes, put the glasses in a triangular position.
It goes with the
and
arc of the elbow.
That's still the maid's job. That's still the butler's job.
Yeah, when he was giving her feedback, she like had a tray of, I don't know, cookies, and he like walks by it and he goes, "This is really fabulous work." I was like,
blew my goddamn
okay, noted. But
they needed like a historian on set, like someone who's worked in this industry to be like, no, let's see her organize a file cabinet.
Yeah. A historian would have been cool, especially if the hotel was 70s themed. That would have been even more fun.
Oh, that would have been so
And Ty
cool.
could have walked the halls and given historical like anecdotes about how to make the hotel more authentic to the 1970s.
Yeah, dressed as Nixon.
Yep.
Doing an impersonation. He's like, I am not a crook.
Exactly. Yeah, he does a 1-minute show every night where he does that line and then he tries his speech again.
Yeah, with a paperclip in his hand. Dead.
But
oh my God.
Yeah, so she has her plan and then
I just have like all the outrage that was thrust upon Christopher at him dating the maid.
Right.
Was so wild to me because like we now live in a post like Anthony Weiner world, or like just in general where politicians are like the worst people alive. Like all of them have sexual assault like suits against them.
Yeah.
And like in this world, he just dated a maid.
The film has this idea that not only should politicians have like we should have an innate reverence for them, particularly family political dynasties deserve even more respect. That's basically what they were trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the monarchy.
yeah, it was like, not only does he get the normal amount of respect, but because his family was a successful political family, he gets even more. So he gets to do this press conference where he I can't even say apologizes. He just explains himself. I think he says it was a mistake and that he was like, essentially he's telling the audience that he was led astray by a maid full of lies.
Yeah, it just seems unfair. Like, he never gets his comeuppance ever. He never gets, like, criticized for not listening.
Yeah.
Even in the end, J-Lo, like, doesn't even really give it to him the way we want her to give it to him.
But the way that he
It's
talks
just
about her in that press
rude.
conference, he does not like this woman. He was basically saying that it was her fault for getting him into this mess. If he would have gotten on camera and said, what's her name? What's the character's name? Marissa, if you can hear me, come to the corner of such and such and such and such, and I will, sweep you off your feet. It was not that. That was not the message.
I know. He didn't work for it at all. Yeah. And she's just like constantly, I love like the narrative too of her being like, there was something different about him. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, something bad.
It wasn't in the film. If anything, he's a criminal. He's Nixon.
Yeah, it seems to be the only reason that this relationship has to work is because Ty needs a father. It's not because Jennifer Lopez needs a husband. It's because this boy is, and we know that he's gifted because she reads that book, How to Raise a Gifted Child. This gifted child is not going to reach his full potential if he doesn't have a dad.
Without a dad.
So,
and I mean, what is more propaganda film than that?
Yeah. So Ty weasels his way into this press conference.
Yup.
And
he's like, gives a real riveting second chances speech, right?
Yeah, he's like, wouldn't Nixon deserve a second chance?
Yes.
Yeah. He does say that, right?
Oh,
doesn't he say, shouldn't somebody like Nixon get a second chance? Or am I making, I'm making that up.
Well, okay, I think we're conflating the two speeches. I think in the beginning, the message of his speech is quite literally Nixon wasn't the bad guy we painted him to be. Mm-hmm. So I think I am conflating the two. But you could tell me that at the end he said Nixon deserves a second. You could replace his mother's name with Nixon.
Even if he didn't say Nixon, they are definitely connecting the idea that Nixon deserved a second chance.
A second chance.
Just like my lying mother.
My lying single mother.
Yeah. Non-manager mother.
Yeah, so he gives like a real speech. Like, she just made a mistake. She made a second chance. She needs a second chance. And in like movie script structure world, we're supposed to connect that to the beginning speech of Nixon, second chances, which is actually, to come upon this right now is actually bone chilling. Like, I have chills.
Yeah.
We consumed this as like a fun, flirty rom-com in 2002.
Right. It wasn't only until I watched it this time that I had this shock. And again, it wasn't because sometimes I have to watch like the entire movie and then the larger idea will come. This larger idea was fed to us in minute 2.
Spoon fed.
They told us, they showed us and told us what was going on here.
I can't believe it. I can't even believe people felt this way about Nixon in 2002. I'm like, do these people still exist?
Yeah, I was like, I think I need to do a little more research because
I know.
Maybe my presidential history isn't where it needs to be. But
it's super interesting too. Okay, so when I saw this when I was a kid, a friend's mom took me, and this friend's dad was right hand to New York State Republican Senator Owen Johnson, who is a Republican. And I can only imagine. I wish I could.
I
talk
love
to
how
this
this has
woman who took
become
me
The
to see
View.
this movie.
Okay.
Isn't this hilarious? You love The View.
I love The View. Okay.
I'm not doing The View any justice, but I just want to say, I think I should have, like, the research involved would have been talking to people who were of age at this time and been like, how did you feel about this? Like, was this fine?
Go get your
How do
mom.
you feel about Nixon? My mom would love this movie. She'd be like, this is required viewing for all. She'd be so on board. But I would love to talk to the woman who took me to this as the wife of this, of this man who worked for a Republican senator. I bet she was like, wow, what a great movie for me to take my daughter and her little friend to.
Right.
Like, what
and
a good
there's no
message.
way that you could have known that before you got butts and seats, because this was never
not advertised
as the indoctrination that it serves to be.
I'm on the IMDb and the log line is like, this Christmas love happens or something, like it's something like that,
and it doesn't.
And this Christmas love checks in. And I want to see this tagline be like, this Christmas Nixon's back.
Yeah,
just like something like, let us know what we're signing up for before we like get our brains turned to mush by this propaganda.
Yeah,
this is what I'd imagine showing up to the Church of Scientology might be like.
They
like you're already
ease you
there.
into it. It's like we were sitting in a room, and then they turn the movie off, and then they pass out like a pamphlet, like 13 reasons why Nixon wasn't the guy you think he is.
The takeaway for this movie too is
they're
like,
really
I
just
could
priming
date
the
a
pump.
Republican.
Priming the pump.
It just made me feel like it's okay to date outside of your party.
Oh.
And that's like not the message today. Like, we do not have this.
Well, Ty
okay.
is certainly very conservative, and
Ty, yeah, we have a real problem on our hands with Ty.
But it's less clear where Jennifer Lopez stands on the issues.
I know too, because he gets to state his politics the whole time.
Yeah.
Christopher, and like J-Lo, it's only hinted upon. They're just like, okay, she's a single mom. Like, where do you think she is? Let's be honest.
Yeah, and not just that, but like they also seem to be communicating to us that like Ty is correct. Like, Ty has a developed sense of self in terms of his political views, and Jennifer Lopez doesn't. And like, that's a problem.
Yeah, like he sees the full picture.
Right. Like, he gets it.
And she doesn't.
He gets it. She, like, even when they're talking about the housing projects, I know that like we don't need Jennifer Lopez to explain to us the housing projects, but they also seem to be communicating like a message of she might not know what she's talking about because she doesn't say anything. She just like,
I think this movie is making a real kind of gross point too, to be like, the men are correct.
Oh, absolutely. It's
and the women are just
very conservative,
emotional,
very conservative.
Yeah,
because
I know, it's wild.
Even after they get back together, right, and everything, all that we're told is that a year later they're still together. That's basically the last thing.
I know, by like the tabloids.
Right. He's a senator, and she's on the cover. Well, I don't know if it was a real magazine, but she's on the cover of.
I know,
like,
it could have just been a joke.
Of
Manager magazine.
Manager magazine.
Which also begs the question: did he pull some strings to get her manager real quick? Be like, this is my wife we're talking about.
Right. So like, even at the end of the movie, the successful relationship is like the powerful guy and the woman who cleans the house.
The woman who's on his arm.
Yeah.
It's so fucked.
Yeah.
The last line I have in my notes is, I feel like he just did this for the Latino vote.
Literally.
In New York.
Literally.
Which is just so rude. I don't know. It feels like J-Lo is being used in this movie in so many ways. Having a Latina wife just locks that in for him. He skirts right to the top. And then what does she get to be? Okay, manager?
Right. Because, and on the one hand, like, I understand that the intent was supposed to be romantic comedy, fun, flirty, fabulous. It was never intended to be a Norma Ray expose on the hotel industry. But that also would have been a really interesting movie, is seeing Jennifer Lopez, if she wanted to, like playing this role that exposed the industry for what it was. Because we get this like really gross scene where the security guy who's in the basement is like constantly hitting on her. And then
I
at
know
what
he
point,
he taps his cheek for a kiss and she just gives it to him. I'm like,
well,
does she have any agency?
that scene's even more tricky because he says to her, like, I saw you on the camera with the coat. Or he doesn't say the coat. He's like, I saw what you were doing on the floor, like, earlier. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell unless you give me a kiss. And she
I
has to give
know.
him a kiss. And, like,
And that was
she
supposed
plays
to come
we
off
play
as
it for
super
laughs,
innocuous.
but it was like,
Ooh. I know that brought me back to childhood when like adults would be like, I won't tell your mom if you give me a kiss. I'm like, oh God, this is horrible. So scary.
I think
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I was like, I don't. At this point, though, like, I think I've fleshed out my argument far enough. I don't want to like continue to drill down in it because ultimately,
I think we did it.
I would say that I did like the movie. Like, I really liked it, and I think Jennifer Lopez does a really great job. So. Like,
She does.
I want to end on that note. I don't want to end on the problematic elements of the script. Like, this was a really captivating Jennifer Lopez performance.
Yeah, I think the same for me. I want to end on like two columns, like on the good side and like on the pro side. I always found this to be just like an endearing movie for her. I think her performance is great. I love her as Jenny from the Block. Like, she needs to be New York. I can't do Jennifer Lopez in California. Like, it just doesn't jive for me. So, like, I think this is such a more successful performance. She's not like being goofy. She's being real. She's grounded.
Oh my God, it was so refreshing not to have the goofiness from Monster in Law.
From Monster in Law, yeah. Like, I believe J-Lo in this. She's doing a really good job of like painting the single mom picture.
Like, I liked her acting. Like, I found it really
yes,
like,
her acting was great,
relatable and really believable.
Everything about it. I thought it was super endearing, and she is she's playing the role of like female who just makes things go away for men, and that's it. Like, that's what women do, or like that's what society has women do.
Yeah.
And she's kind of doing it all with like a smile on her face, and like it's not a big deal, which is just like that's the truest thing for me. It's like it actually is a really at its core true performance.
Yeah.
And I'm into it. In the other column, I wanted to say I looked up two things. John Hughes wanted his name removed from the credits. Because he said that it was so far from his original story.
Ooh.
It had very little of his original script, which was set in Chicago. And another thing is Ralph. As if it would change a fucking single thing. And Ralph Fiennes has since stated he regrets making this movie. Which I think says it so we don't have to, which I'm very happy. Like, this doesn't age well. I think if I were in this movie, I would have regretted making this kind of propaganda. And Ty is saved because he was like 10 in this.
Yeah, it ages like milk.
But
it's like, ooh.
But like, knowing that I had a hand in potentially maybe changing a mind or two in 2002 and kind of turning them on to this Nixon George W thing, I would feel kind of a little gross about. So
yeah, I think we can separate. I think I'm glad that you are articulating this idea of like her performance stands on its own. The film though is what it is, and those
the film is what
two
it is.
Separate areas of observation.
This is her vein of gold. This is where she shines. Down and out New Yorker, empowered female who is kind of like dealt a bum hand in life. And go ahead. No, I was only going to say that she really brings it home in Hustlers with that idea.
For sure. And we jokingly talked about it at the top, but I'm going to bring it. This is like my last thing that I want to say is that truly, like, where this is crystallized for me is the moment, and again, it's 5 seconds of the movie, when she's getting on the bus. And like that to me
change
was enthralling. Watching her put the coins into the bus. And I was just like, I am living watching Jennifer Lopez. I can't even remember her character's name. Pay to get on a bus. I couldn't
Marissa.
I couldn't imagine that I would be so fortunate to get to see this.
I don't know why that moment is so enthralling. It's truly just chilling. Like maybe it's J-Lo, the confluence of J-Lo's character and J-Lo as a real life human being. Like she did that. And we feel like we're eavesdropping on the real J-Lo's life.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we know she rode that bus.
Absolutely. They're toying on that idea.
Yeah, like maybe she's never been a maid before. So like those are, that's those are her acting chops.
Right.
With the lavender pillow. But
So
like
creative.
the change is like we're watching her live.
Not just that,
like,
but like
it's like voyeuristic maybe.
It
is what I'm trying to say.
But it's also a moment where okay, the maid situation, not everyone's going to be a maid, but the majority of people will take public transportation, especially if you live in New York
so
City.
Universal.
So the next time I get on a city bus, I know what I'm going to be thinking about. And it's not going to be, is there a seat open? It's going to be, do I look like Jennifer Lopez? And I bet if I fumble for my Metro card, I'm not going to be given the grace that she is.
It's okay, sweet treats.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, but I just like to imagine that they tell her it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm looking at a critic review or two. The New York Times said blandly charming. Just too good.
That's true.
It's so true.
I was like, do I want to rebut that? No.
Oh my God, that's the best one I've seen.
It's not about the romance. I can tell you that.
Washington Post. This fairy tale shtick, even when dressed up with a little class war garnish, is hard to swallow. Class war garnish is good.
Class war.
That's good. Oh God. Okay, well, I feel so good about that one. That was fun.
Yeah, I love that this is part 2 of an ongoing series of J-Lo. So for all you other J-Lo fanatics out there, please stay tuned because I know we have some more J-Lo content planned.
We have more J-Lo down the pipeline. I think that she is like so far in the early stages of our pod, my favorite case study. Her films are so good. I think I want to get like a running list going of what makes a star vehicle because we just have like the punny title and the music and the Dalmatians. So I think we should chart. Dalmatians.
I think Dalmatians it should
J-Lo's
be number
career.
1 or number 2.
We should chart like the quirky best friend who's obsessed with sex because she's not getting any, stuff like that.
Those are the keys.
And J-Lo's kind of like a prude because she can have a man like tomorrow or like in an hour.
Yes.
But the best friend who's like getting none is like living vicariously through her. Like I think that there's oh my gosh, there's so much to chart.
And these are so intrinsic to Jennifer Lopez.
To Jennifer Lopez flicks. We have precocious children, which I would love to chart, a precocious child. Stanley Tucci, just in general, as a human, might be a great person to chart because he is just like the quintessential assistant and ridiculous ideas on mental health and what it's like to be a working woman.
Yeah, I think there's a lot tied up in representations of careers for Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes.
A question that like as
her shtick.
Her dissertation that stretches across all of her films is essentially like, what does it mean to go to work? What to quote Julia Roberts from Mona Lisa Smile? What does it mean?
What does it mean? What does it mean? I love that for J-Lo flicks. It's entirely that. Like, for better or worse, like she is limited by her type and what people see her as, and it's like she is very much the working woman.
Yeah.
Like we're not analyzing.
We're
not analyzing Julia Roberts flicks in the same way.
Yeah, but Jennifer Lopez, especially at this time, but throughout the majority of her career, she is a celebrity on a stratospheric level. And I love
Yeah.
that these movies are
Are so medium.
are so medium, but also they do two things. Number one, it communicates to the audience that she's so normal you couldn't even believe it. But you can also imagine that it's her way of learning what life is like for the rest of us. So it's like
For the
it
rest
works
of
for
us.
it's whatever. It's like the fly that sits on the hippo's back that eats their skin but also cleans their back.
It's symbiotic. It's a total symbiotic relationship. Like the public loves her, and she loves
She loves
this
the
case study
public. She
back.
loves the normal people.
Yes. Oh wow, I love framing it like she's getting as much out of it as we are.
Yeah.
Like each new role for her is just like illuminating the common struggle.
Yeah, it's like when you end your high school English class and your English teacher was like, you guys won't believe this, but I got just as much, if not more, out of you than you got out of me. And I would always just be like,
Oh my God. Like, you're
this
fucking
heifer
kidding
right
me,
now.
bitch. It's such a cringy speech in real life.
It's so
but done
cringe.
beautifully in
But I could see
done
Jennifer
well in,
Lopez doing that on like rap day.
yes, getting everyone a wrap gift, like a really expensive one
Like a
too.
sham wow. Like going
All the maids. Sham. Oh my God, JLo just thinks that all of her co-stars are actual maids in real life.
they're like, no, we're from Central Booking.
Yeah, like all the actors who are like coming up and coming into their prime, she just like is like, okay, have fun going back to your hotel to clean.
One day
I
you
love
guys
that
could be
assumption.
managers too if you work hard.
I know. Her just giving her the Ralph Fiennes, giving all the other maids the Ralph Fiennes treatment,
Yeah.
getting on their good side so she can get in. I heard in Hustlers, JLo got the whole cast a wrap gift, or at least the women, their own personal cups with straws, and she got them like bedazzled with like crystal, which is pretty crazy.
What a wild gift.
Really of the people,
Yeah.
you know, really.
She's like, what do people do?
really
They
middle
need to
class
drink
gift.
water. So why not think of me whenever you drink water? Well, congratulations, JLo, again, for this great movie.
Congrats, JLo, on a beautiful performance.
Wish you got the Oscar nom.
Yeah, I hope she got it. Hope I get it.
Yeah, hope she gets it. If
I get
not,
it.
next year. We'll
Next
resubmit.
year. Retroactive resubmitting of this for awards consideration. I think if anyone doesn't have to be embarrassed of this movie, it's JLo,
Oh,
which good
agreed.
for her. Thank God. Like, she didn't actively participate in. I mean, maybe she passively participated in, but I think her conscience should be clear in participating in this film.
Yeah, JLo, take
did
our
great.
permission. You can sleep okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. This was a good time then, and it's a good time for me now.
Just a different.
And I will
just a
never
different time.
see. I will never see or think of I'm coming out in any other context but that scene with the maids.
Right. Oh, 3,000%.
Coming out. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
This is going to be tough because now we got to lead this episode and then we can't say the word maids anymore.
I know it's gonna be hard.
I have to
Just like
turn my
we couldn't say
microphone off
crazy.
and say housekeeper.
Housekeeper.
Ugh.
Ugh. I don't want to go back to that life.
No.
Well, this was a
This was
fun
fun.
hour and a half. Oh, good for us. Wow.
Well, we did
I
it.
have nothing else. Do you have anything
No,
else you
I
want
think
to say
we
about
need.
this movie?
I think we're good. Let's just end it on, thank you, Jennifer Lopez. Thank you, George Bush, for producing this movie. And
Thank you to the screenwriters. Thank you to the directors. Thank you to post 9/11 New York City.
Nixon.
Thank you to Nixon. The jury's still out on whether you deserved a second chance.
The Republican National Committee.
Thank you to the RNC. And just I hope you take away from this movie what we did, which is like
Keep up the voting record.
keep up the good voting record. Oh, Christ. Okay. All right. This was fun. Thank you, Stephen, for, carving time out of your busy morning to be with me.
No problem.
I actually liked the AM recording. I am here to admit it. I liked it. So it's casually just 12:17 p.m. So it's no longer the morning.
You have the whole day ahead of you.
I do have the whole day.
And I don't have a
I
headache.
like this. You have a headache?
No, when we recorded
Oh.
in the afternoon, I would get a headache.
I know what you mean. All right, I'm ready to put this one to bed. Made in Manhattan from 2002. We will be back with more J-Lo. Stay tuned for that. She's probably someone we will never put down on the, I want to say on the channel.
She's not a dog. She's not a dog. Okay, and we're done. And we're done here. Bye, everyone.
All right, bye everyone.